Hello and welcome to Record Sports
I thought you
Hotline
were
Live.
busting into a song there.
Keith, how's it going?
I actually don't know what I've just watched. That was an astonishing 90 minutes of football, wasn't it? Astonishing.
Just imagine what Motherwell and Queen's Park would do to Fenerbahce. Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of gobsmacked as well.
It's staggering. I'm so pleased for Barry Ferguson, I have to tell you, Daily Record columnist. If I'm him though, I'm giving serious consideration to going in, finding Patrick Stewart in the main stand and telling him, that'll be me off now, thank you very much. Mic drop, managerial mic drop. I've just beaten Jose Mourinho in Istanbul, that'll do. By the way, what an achievement for Barry Ferguson, for Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, Alan McGregor. You know, I know how hard they've worked since they went in there. Mm-hmm. I know they had a training session, I think it was Tuesday this week, where they really went through the players. I mean physically. And I think the sports scientists were actually starting to get a bit worried because they've not seen, the computers haven't been in this kind of red zone basically the entire time Philip Clement was there. Aye. Real high tempo, real high energy. And I thought you saw that in that performance tonight.
Aye. No,
they all over the pitch. They were outstanding.
Aye.
Yes, look, you can pick on things. Jefte had a difficult 90 minutes probably, but still, as the game got on, you know, as he was getting forward more, he puts the ball through for one of the Dessers disallowed goals. But the big guys, the ones you're looking for, Suter, exceptional.
Aye, he was brilliant.
Best game Butland's had in a while, made a couple of really crucial saves at critical moments. I know that he wanted to start with Balogun tonight, but obviously I think he said before the game that Balogun overnight he trained and then woke up this morning and was feeling a bit tight. Didn't look it, didn't he, when he come on?
Great sub to come on.
He was sensational.
Aye.
So when you've got Balogun and Suter, and I think that's the, you know, he would have preferred to have the both of them in his starting 11. But Tavernier had a really strong game. Raskin, Diomande.
Everyone to a man, aye. I mean, we'll talk a bit more in depth about Dessers.
Well, I was going to come round to CD9.
But, I mean, his best game in a Rangers jersey.
Easily, aye.
Aye,
easily.
By far.
Easily, because even when he has really good games, he has some really bad moments.
Aye.
Tonight, just about everything he did was outstanding.
Even the assist for the second goal.
The assist for the second goal was absolutely sensational.
Out of this world, aye.
And the first goal that's disallowed, when Raskin cuts in from the left-hand side, it looks to me as if Dessers has managed to get himself back on side. Shot spilled, he put it away superbly. That's usually Dessers in a bad night, that could go anywhere.
Aye, of course.
Absolutely drilled it, perfect finish. And his armpit was offside or something. I don't know why that goal doesn't stand. But for Rangers to go to there, Fenerbahce, one of the places in Europe, a real hotbed,
aye.
And they've won 3-1, it could easily have been 4-5. And Jose Mourinho's just admitted as much.
Aye.
He said 3-1's a good score for Fenerbahce, given the way the game went.
He's happy to lose 3-1 at home.
Yeah.
Thinks it could have been a lot worse. Look, plenty of comments coming in already. If you're watching at home, get involved in the discussion in the comments section. I'll hit you with a few of these, Keith, see what you think. Plainclothes man says Rangers need to appoint this man full time for the long term. He just beat Mourinho. He's obviously an untapped tactical genius. G51, it says we're on our way to Bilbao, and we should say as well, the finals in Bilbao. If Rangers win this tie, and I get it's not over, but they could face Bilbao or Roma in the quarters, which again another mouth-watering tie.
It's.
I don't want to look ahead too much.
Yeah,
but you can't help it.
Yeah, well, I think Rangers need to concentrate on getting this tie finished, because there was a little glint in Mourinho's eye after that match where he's saying this isn't done yet. We're 3-1 down at half time. It's not done, and he's quite right. Fenerbahce will come, and if you just need to look at Mourinho's kind of track record. This will be a bruiser for him. Mm-hmm. And he'll see himself. He'll want to win a European trophy with Fenerbahce.
Aye.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
Aye.
I just go from club to club and I just win big trophies.
He'll have looked at that Europa League and thought, semis or final.
I'll take that.
Aye.
So for Rangers to, it's not just the result, and I keep going on about it. The standard of that performance, what Barry Ferguson got out of these players tonight would have been way beyond it. It was funny because I think there was some Rangers fans that were making the point, even Patrick Stewart, I think, made the point that they were hanging on for Clement because he was doing okay in Europe, and they were frightened of making this change and eventually they were forced into it.
Aye.
That's easily the best performance from a Rangers side. Well, this was a very good performance, didn't they, in the Old Firm win. But against the Celtic side that kind of miles clear. That was a game that mattered, and Rangers turned up and they were, pretty much faultless. And again, I have to commend Barry Ferguson and his backroom team, because tactically they got it absolutely spot on.
Danny says in the comments they did the same to Dortmund 4-2. Was this more impressive than Dortmund, do you think?
I think Rangers are a better side against Dortmund.
Aye, they were better.
So from in terms of a managerial achievement, to take the hand that they were dealt there, which was Duff, and then sit down and play poker with Jose Mourinho and turn them over like that, I think this caps that, yeah, I do. I mean, Dortmund was a sensational result and performance, but a team full of right good players.
Aye.
And you just can't say that about this Rangers team.
Look, there's a few more comments. Haining says Josie is going to want to be the Rangers manager after next Thursday at Ibrox.
You might have a bit of competition.
Danny says Rangers are third European final with Magic, but a long way to go. Gary Wilson, brilliant performance. We're taking a wee bit of stick as well for our predictions. As you can imagine.
And rightly so.
Aye. This one here from Sam, who says, amazing performance, should have been 4-1. We were robbed of a perfectly good goal. Not one of you thought Rangers could get a win. And we need to take a lesson.
Who's saying that?
That's Sam.
Sam? Did Sam think Rangers were going to win?
Good point. Very good point. Sam, I dare say he'll come back and say, aye.
Of course you did, Sam.
Exactly.
You just didn't need to publish it in a newspaper. Now, what I am interested, Daniel, I want to throw it out there to the people watching. Does this result and performance mean that Barry Ferguson should now be considered as a real potential candidate for the job on the long term?
Aye.
I want to see what the response is. I'd like to know what people out there think about that.
Get involved in the comment section, get involved in the discussion. Does Barry I mean, look, I'll start the conversation. He has to be leading the way. Right now.
He's leading the way because he's in the job.
I get that, but I mean, you put it this way.
No, because before tonight, was there a groundswell of Rangers fans that would say, yeah, that's a good appointment, we'd welcome that? I don't believe.
I don't think so,
I don't believe. But I did say to you, if he can scalp Jose Mourinho,
this would be huge,
and then survive going away at Celtic Park against Brendan Rodgers, then that is, I don't know what form of credentials that any new owner or board would be looking for. Especially if he's galvanised and bringing the fans with him. You wait to see what the atmosphere's like next Thursday night at Ibrox, and the reception that he'll get with his backroom team.
Aye.
The place will be absolutely buzzing. And Ibrox how long has it been since Ibrox was alive and the fans were really connecting? That's one thing Barry Ferguson. Not only is he bringing his players to life and getting something out of them that Clement couldn't, but he's reconnected with the support. And once you can reconnect with the support, that we've seen what it's like. The energy on a Thursday night at Ibrox, a rammed Ibrox,
unmatched.
Yeah.
Aye. Well, look, comments are coming in on that already. Sam again says, "No, it's too late to jump the gun and offer it to him too quickly." John says, "No way, one swallow doesn't make a summer." And he says Neil McCann is the brains behind the win tonight.
That's incredible.
I know. William as well says, "No, we need a big name manager that can bring a better class of players in. However, there is a couple." Paul here says Barry's the chosen one. So mixed, obviously, but I would say he was 25-1 to be the next permanent Rangers manager when he was given the job. He's now down to 7-1, maybe even 6-1 with the right bookie. The bookies are really wrong.
But that's gone. The odds would tell you that'll have gone a long way. But nobody knows, and you know what? It's Mugs game betting, and nobody's got the first idea what the would-be new owners are thinking about and what road they want to go down and what they see. However, I will say this, Barry Ferguson could present them with a major problem. They may have a plan in mind, but, and I see that. I thought that would be the reaction from supporters. I'm going to probably say it's probably 70-30. It was probably 90 against 10-4.
Aye, that's probably
I'd say it's probably going to go 70-30.
If he finishes the job.
If he finishes the job and if he can get a real performance out of his side at Celtic Park, then you'll see it. Gradually, the numbers will change.
William says, is this a serious question? I said once, don't mind repeating, praise is due for sure, but no one more delighted than Celtic if he gets the job. James chimes in saying, Barry couldn't scalp Michael Vinner at a Ramsey Ibrox on Saturday. The team are cheating the fans. That's why they're 16 points behind. I do think there's something in that, in the sense that they were so outstanding tonight, Rangers. You do look at them and go,
where was that?
Where has this been?
Well, I'm going to, yes, I completely agree with that, but they've been unreliable all season. What I would say is, from what I'm hearing around about the place, there is a completely different atmosphere. In the space of whatever it's been, less?
Like 10 days or something?
Yeah. The atmosphere around the squad, the atmosphere around the training ground, the atmosphere around the staff inside the stadium, I'm told the whole dial has moved on it.
The entire club.
It feels a working environment has been transformed in the short space of time that these guys have been in there. And I come back to it, and we mentioned it previously, that's their work. If you're a player that... Now, the fans won't see it that way. Anybody that ever kicked a ball and wished to be a professional football player will find it hard to understand. But that's their place of work. That's their working environment that they're going into. And see if it's a grind. See if you don't like your manager. See if you don't like turning up for training. See if you don't like the sessions that you're getting. I can understand why these players were feeling pretty low. Fit pretty low. It was snake's belly stuff. No. And I think that they've been jolted. I think the whole place has taken a bit of a jolt. And Barry Ferguson has found a way to just bring it back to life a little bit. Aye. Now, if you ask Barry Ferguson tonight, he's not going to say, yeah, I'll be the next Rangers manager. But what has got in his mind's eye is he's got 3 months to try and return the standards that he knew as a player, that he grew up with, the same standards that Neil McCann knew, Billy Dodds, Alan McGregor. That is their first priority now, is to get to this end of the season and then look back and say, that's a different place that we're leaving behind to the one that we walked into. Aye. And if they can do that, there's a nice touch of legacy about that. But I think that result tonight, as I said 70-30, judging by these reactions, it's maybe not that. It's maybe more 80-20. But if he can finish the job, and if he can find a way of getting a performance like that against Celtic, it might gradually swing in his direction a little bit. I still think it's a long shot. Aye. But that tonight, I think, at the very least, it's given him an incredible memory. Oh. You know, a short spell as Rangers manager, and he managed to turn Jose Mourinho over. Aye, absolutely. Oi in the comments says, Gio and Clement pulled off good results in Europe, but they couldn't handle it on the domestic front. A win in Europe, well, great, changes nothing about our issue. And we had this. You know, but Barry Ferguson and these guys that he's brought in weren't the issue. Aye, of course, aye. They're trying to be the antidote to the issue. Absolutely. We had this one. I need to read this. It's one of the most cerebral comments we get in about why Rangers are so good in Europe across different managers, different players. Christian McCabe says, my hot take is that Rangers in Europe is pure subconscious Brexit ball, a deep-seated rejection of the European project. They don't compete, they invade, trading brown brogues for football boots. So, that's good. That's a good comment, but I mean, it's an interesting, why are they so good? What is it about a Thursday night? Because it is different managers. Yeah. It is different players. Well, it's gone from... Gerrard was the one that really started to make inroads into European... Bale didn't really have any great nights in Europe, but Gio, Barry now... Clement had a few. What is it about Europe that makes Rangers as a club? Do you know what? I think there is a theory to that a little bit as well. I think that, you know, if you look at that squad, if you look at the sort of the profile of the players that make up that squad, maybe there is something in it. They're more suited. Aye. Some of these guys look more suited to playing in European football than they do the bread and butter and the hurly-burly of the Scottish domestic scene. There might be an element in that. And you know, again, go back to the fact, Barry Ferguson and his staff will. You would think they know exactly what the domestic scene is all about. And I'm sure they'll be having a word explaining what's the requirements. Because if these players actually kind of understand the European environment and they kind of feel more comfortable there, then perhaps they need a manager and a background team that can say, look, See that won't wash
Aye.
away to Motherwell or away to St Mirren or whatever whatever they've dropped points this season, which is just about everywhere.
Aye. Well, see, just the last thing, and then we could talk about Barry Ferguson as the potential manager all night. But look, I just think that, see, if you're the new incoming owners, right? If Barry Ferguson get the fans chanting his name every week, he's got at least 10, maybe more games left if they go further in the Europa League. See if he wins, I don't know, 8 or 9 of them. I actually think the new owners that come in and go, well, look, we don't need to change the management team. Give him a season. I actually think, I know, I get
There's
they
an
might have
argument
their own
there.
thoughts,
There's-
but I think it might be easier for them just to go, oh, do you know what? There you go.
Let
have
that
a
guy
season.
run with it.
Aye.
Listen, there's an argument there.
Yeah.
But see, for the here and now, I think you're right. I think we should probably just kind of, who knows what the future's going to hold. Because this Rangers team are so unreliable, so unpredictable, that they could,
Aye.
domestically, they could collapse again. They could get a real bad one against Celtic.
Aye,
It
plenty
could
of
end up
games.
turning.
Aye.
So, but see, for right here and right now, brilliant night for Rangers. Brilliant night for the supporters. They've been through a lot, and a lot of pain, a lot of suffering this season. So they should enjoy the night. And Barry Ferguson, I'm absolutely certain, with his coaching staff,
Aye.
there'll be a glass of red wine or two on the flight home.
Absolutely. This comment that Neil Lennon got Celtic to the last 16 in the Champions League. He got the job full time after his audition. Ferguson could take this team further. No other manager gets Rangers the way he does. It's summed up quite well.
I think that's an important part. That I think Rangers have lost their DNA along the way. I think Clement was walking into the wrong movie. These guys, that is one thing that you can guarantee, that these guys, the DNA will rub off on the players. Now, whether that's going to be enough, but I don't think it's just that. I think there is tactical acumen, and I think they demonstrated that tonight. So with the sort of fire in the belly attitude, but also with tactical discipline and strategic planning, which they've shown tonight that they can do. Let's just see where it goes.
Aye, exactly.
But in terms of that performance tonight, Daniel, let's talk about the game, because
Aye. Well,
it was a really, really impressive 90 minutes.
we talked a little bit about it at the start, but let's deal with this. Haining says, I have never known a striker like Dessers.
No, there really is.
He says he's like the turbocharged version of Novo. He says good/bad. I mean, I agree. I can't think of a comparable striker to Cyril Dessers.
No, there's certainly one of a kind.
You never know what you're going to get tonight.
Well, he doesn't know what he's got to do next.
Tonight, I haven't seen all the games, but that's the best forward performance in Europe tonight of all the games you'd imagine, looking at the results.
That's a bold prediction.
Well, I mean, there's been no other strikers went out and...
It's only just gone kick-off
Aye,
time.
that's true, I know. I just realised that as I was saying it. That was an early kick-off.
You've gone early there, Dan.
I'll put my neck out and say it will be the
Okay.
best performance by a striker in the Europa League tonight. But you go back to games like against Queen's Park, missing huge chances.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't even know what to say about him at this point.
He looks like somebody that's responded to the change in management. I'm telling you, do not underestimate how fractured that dressing room was. They turned against, they weren't enjoying their work under Clement. They didn't enjoy him. They didn't enjoy the way that they were treated. They didn't enjoy the atmosphere that was created. Dessers, he's already pointed to the dugout on a couple of occasions, hasn't he?
Aye.
Goal celebrations. He looks to me like a guy that's thoroughly enjoying the change. Now, whether or not it's a long change or it's just an interim thing, there's a bounce come out of him. But yes, you don't know what Dessers you're going to get. This was the CD9 version tonight. Everything he did came off. I mean, there was once in the second half where he's gone through and he got the ball caught up just under him where he perhaps should have played in Diamonde, and he did the Dessers thing where he starts taking touches and chopping and he kind of... But he was actually really unlucky in that incident. Everything else he did absolutely superbly. Even, and this is part of the real graft of being a number 9, especially in a night like that when you can be isolated at times. How many free kicks did they win?
Oh,
Backing in,
aye.
bringing Rangers 40 yards
That's
up the park.
priceless in a night,
That's
isn't it?
huge.
Aye, absolutely.
So as much as all the good stuff that he did on the ball and his finishing and all that, and his link-up play, just the sheer physical battle that he was prepared to put up there tonight against a big. I mean, they were a big side.
Aye.
He you know, more than made a match for them, and I just thought that was so important that when the ball did get fed up to him, even the Czerny, the third goal, ball gets fed up to him, he's got somebody right up him, and he's still been able hold off the defender, touch the ball into the path, beautiful cushion lay off into Raskin. Raskin just plays the pass of the night. I mean, that was utterly.
It was outstanding, eh?
A sensational pass.
Aye. The
curve on it to get to exactly where it needed to go, the weight on it, just ran into Czerny's stride. And Czerny took off like a 100-metre runner. And I thought he was done.
We were both saying that before we came on. He looked like he was knackered at that point and then just flew into top gear. Look, comments are coming in thick and fast. Keep them coming if you want to get involved in the conversation. Friend of the show, Darren Cooney, writes in saying, there's no mysticism to a Rangers on the Thursday night. Have you guys never been to Archaeos? Fair point.
Dan, put the brandy down. What does that even mean?
William Logan writes in saying Rangers need to pull out all the stops and sign Czerny for next season and pay the £6 million to Wolfsburg. That is a fair point. I mean, 17 goals now, 2 tonight. I mean...
Send that to America.
Aye.
Because that is going to be, you know, one of the things. That there is new financial muscle coming into the place. That's not... I mean, we've talked before, what should Rangers fans expect from Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marathi in terms of levels of investment? And I've said, I really don't believe there's not going to be funny money floating about.
Aye.
But an investment like that in Czerny, what are we saying, £5-6 million there or thereabouts?
He's still in his mid-20s as well.
That's a deal that has to get done. It's just a deal they have to do.
I would go so far as, I bet there's teams in England looking up now and going...
Yeah, but Rangers might have got lucky with this one.
First option or
if they've
whatever.
got the first option.
Aye.
You know, money shouldn't be an issue. Nobody's saying that Rangers will now be signing players at 12, 15, 20 million pounds. I doubt very much that's going to happen, even though these guys that are about to come into the place are seriously wealthy. But I think a player like Czerny, I'm sure if you run his name through the data and the sort of scouting systems that, and it's top level stuff that they're using, the San Francisco 49ers, which has been rolled out at Leeds United, I think they'll see value for money, and the Moneyball thing is written all over. That's just a good buy. Now, Rangers wouldn't have the money without this takeover to finance that deal. They now do. I think it's something that, you know, absolutely looks like a no-brainer.
John writes in saying, will Czerny want to stay at Rangers and continue to play against hammer throwers for a large part of the season? That's a wee bit harsh, I think. This one as well from G51. Igamane was rightly dropped. You start your best striker, CD9. Hamza Igamane is in a weird place now, isn't he? Because he was the next big thing under...
I don't think so, no.
No, okay, cool.
I don't think so. Well, I'll tell you something. We're in the period of Ramadan.
Ah, okay, that's a fair point.
And I believe that Hamza Igamane is kind of really strict about it. Some players offer up a prayer and eat their pre-match meal, and then God allows them to do it and whatever. I believe that Hamza Igamane is really devout, really strict, and I think there was a concern in the game, the Motherwell game, because they came off second half or half time.
Aye, come off.
I think the kind of sports scientists were looking at it going, his legs have gone, he's empty.
Aye. That would have a big... listen, if I couldn't eat between sun up and sundown, there'd be a big drop in my performance.
Yeah, I can well imagine. so that, look, I'm not saying that was a factor behind the decision tonight, but I think it probably fed into it because you needed your centre forward tonight to get himself about the pitch, to non-stop, and Dessers did it. And by the way, you would have to say that even if it was nothing to do with sports science and Ramadan, it was the right call anyway. Playing Dessers tonight up there on his own was the right call because look what he did.
Aye. More comments coming in. This one from Yai, Barry Ferguson and his team got the tactics spot on. This one though, you know, I don't want to look too far ahead, but you must go to Celtic to win. It's been proven time again by domestic teams who've gave it a go. Teams sitting off them always get picked off eventually. The 3-0 win in January vs 3-0 in September shows it. That is Rangers' next domestic fixture, of course, is Celtic at Celtic Park. That already, I mean, the 2 Fenerbahce games and Celtic, if Barry Ferguson can come through all 3 of them unscathed, how could he not be at the front of the queue?
That's what I'm saying. I think, see the percentages that we're talking about, is it 70-30, is it 80-20? Wait to see what the percentages look like in that scenario. But I think going into these 3 games, you would look at it and say, it's a serious long shot. Especially, nothing to do with whether or not Barry Ferguson has got it as a potential manager, or if his backroom team are tactically smart enough, or nothing to do with any of that. The group of players that they're dealing with, the hand they've been dealt, going into these 3 games makes it a serious long shot. But the flip side of that is, see if they do come through these 3 games, then what does that say about their managerial credentials?
Aye, absolutely.
So, look, all to play for. I think that Barry Ferguson has announced himself tonight as a potential candidate for it. And I'm really pleased for him, because I know how hard he's worked over these last few days to try and breathe some life into something that I think he would have been fairly shocked when he walked into to meet with the players, to feel the atmosphere around Auchenhowie. I think it would have came as a bit of a shock. And I wonder what the place will be like when they go back in for a warm down, whether it's tomorrow afternoon or whenever it is they get back.
There's a couple of comments here, just to clarify. A couple of people saying, would Ferguson even want the job? I think it's clear to say, it's a safe assumption, he wants this long term.
He was prepared to take the job in the interim, even though there was every risk to his own credit. I mean, Barry's come out of management for a while. People will look at him and he'll get a lot of remarks. Well, Blackpool went to him, Clyde
Allowan, he's not done it there.
Celtic Hearts. So, people looked upon him as damaged goods. Now, did he want to come back into management? I don't think that was really in his head. I think he was enjoying going on holidays, because this guy that spent all his entire life in football, and for the first time, he's not. And when he was doing the stuff at Celtic and Alloa, it's part-time stuff. It's Thursday nights. It's hiring pitches. It's
training 2 nights a week.
It's buying energy drinks for the squad out your own pocket. It's all this sort of a. So I think he'd maybe got to the point where he'd fallen out of love with the whole idea of it a little bit, and then fell in love with the idea of going on holidays and enjoying himself and taking time away from football.
Quite right.
But so when he was offered this is the one position that he could get offered that he would find impossible to turn down. Now, he would find it impossible to turn down in an interim capacity. What do you think he's got to do if somebody says to him, do you fancy a crack at this now? There's no 2 ways about it. It's just the ultimate no-brainer.
I don't want to look too far into the second line. We've got a week to talk about.
You keep saying that. I don't want to, but...
But I will. Going into the second leg, do you just go with the same team again? Is there any... Did you see it tonight? Any changes you'd make? I mean...
Well, look, they surprised everybody, including Jose Mourinho tonight, didn't they? They've come up with this system. I looked at it, I must say, when I saw the team sheet, I thought, he's going to a 5. And I didn't see that coming. Now, it will be interesting. Do you know why it's going to be interesting? What did I say about Philippe Clement when I described him as a drowning man? A drowning man clings to something. Something works, he'll just cling on for dear life. Don't know why that worked, but it worked. And actually, do you know what? You got a little bit lucky. Whether it was whatever position he chose to play Dujon Sterling in 1 week, and it worked. And then whether it was right wing, left wing,
bringing Raskin from the wilderness,
just all these things that he stumbled on. And when he stumbled on something and he got a result and he got a bounce out of it, he'd grab onto it. So I will now find fascinating do Rangers go the same way tactically.
Do you think they will? What's your gut feeling?
I'm not sure that they will, but who knows? I think a lot is going to have to depend on who's fit, who's available.
Well, I mean, John raises the point, will Suter and or Balogun stay fit for the Celtic game as they went for a tough game in the second leg against Fenerbahce? I think a lot of, if they're going to be successful across these 3 games, Rangers, it depends on both of them.
Absolutely, it does.
I think they're
critical.
They're the cornerstones.
They're the foundation.
Aye,
They can build on everything else from that platform. But his centre halves now. Sterling's back though.
Aye.
Now you know he's a solid, robust, dependable option in there. But Suter and Balogun are the two.
So with that in mind, a week tonight, if you're Barry Ferguson picking the team and maybe the physio...
I'll stop you there.
Sorry, go on.
You're going to say, is he picking his team with Celtic in mind?
No, but I was just going to say Balogun can only play one of the games. What one do you play on?
What I believe is that they've already identified Balogun as a guy that whatever you need to do to be fit, we'll do it. If it means you don't need to join in the sessions, you join in for 10 minutes, you do boxes, you go to the gym, you have a stretch, you have a massage, whatever it is that you need to do, Leon, to be fit, you do it. He's a 36-year-old man. He knows his body, he knows his limitations. But, like, there's not a pick on him. He's as fit as a fiddle and he's still rapid. So it's like, he might be 36, but physically, there's no signs of it.
Aye.
I mean, yes, he is prone to picking up injuries. And that, of course, that's going to be a concern. But I think this will be a bit of a throwback between now and the end of the season to the times when, you know, I remember Rangers teams in the past where you had guys playing with broken legs. Do you know what I mean? Back in the
Go through the
crazy
pain barrier.
Yeah, aye. And I think you'll find with this group of players, maybe some of them weren't so willing to go to the well time and time again for Clement. Maybe if you're not happy and you don't like the way you're being treated, if you feel your hamstring, you might think, I don't know. And the medical department say, well, there is something there. All right, okay, you sit this one out. I get the feeling you might find a very opposite kind of reaction from these players. I think these players have shown already that they want to play for him.
Aye, it'll be interesting. Just very finally, a couple of comments. A says, I wonder if issues with Paul Le Guen and getting over it has helped Barry put this team back together after Clement. I think that's an interesting point. And Blue Nose John simply says, it all depends on how long Proper is injured for. Hopefully he's okay, because that one, we haven't touched on it yet.
It was a bad one.
That was so painful tonight.
It was a bad one.
And it was good that he obviously got up and he was walking and stuff, but I remember thinking at first, that's a really, really bad one.
Yeah, it was actually a relief to see him walking off the pitch.
Aye.
And he looked dazed, he didn't look particularly well, but he was able to walk off the pitch. And so that's a concussion job, you would imagine. What is it, 5 days a week?
I'd say it's a week, so he'd probably be touch and go for next week.
But as long as Balogun and Suter are fit and available for next week, then I don't really think that's an issue in terms of the team selection for that match.
Aye. I think that brings us to the end.
Who's going?
Is that Barry? Get him on.
That's the wife. She's wondering where I am.
Aye. Well, look, thank you so much for contributing with all your comments. We really appreciate it. I think we've talked just about every inch of tonight's game.
I think we have.
We'll be back on Sunday.
Will we?
I think we will, won't we?
Yeah. When? What time?
I think we'll need to decide that. I mean, usually it's a 6 p.m.
6
kickoff.
p.m. Okay.
There's no games on Sunday, of course. Or no big game. I mean, we'll see.
Well, let's do it 6 p.m. Sunday,
Okay.
but let's do that deal right now. We'll shake on at 6 p.m.
We'll shake on
Sunday.
it, we hope you can join us then. Aye, and we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks as always. Keith.
Cheers. Good night, folks.
Thanks for watching.